Nathan Brooks sat alone at table 12 in the Driscoll Grill, the kind of steakhouse where oil paintings lined mahogany walls and waiters moved like shadows. Saturday night, 7:45.
I know this is hard,
His
but we have
blind
to
date
talk.
was 20 minutes
I
late.
understand. I'm listening.
He checked
I
his
just
phone
want
for
us
the
to be on the
sixth
same
time,
page.
thumb hovering over a text to his daughter. Lily, I tried. She's not coming. Can I come home now? 3 years. 3 years since cancer took Emma. 3 years of grief so thick, some mornings he forgot what breathing without pain felt like. 3 years of his 10-year-old daughter watching him fade away, piece by piece, until last week when she'd finally had enough. She'd stood in front of him with her arms crossed and Emma's stubborn expression painted across her face. The resemblance had nearly killed him. Dad, Mom would be really mad at you right now. He'd looked up from his laptop, confused. What? You promised her. At the hospital. I heard you. His throat had closed. Lily shouldn't have been listening that night. The hospice nurse had said children process death differently, that sometimes they need to witness the goodbye. He'd held Emma's hand while their daughter sat in the corner chair, supposedly reading. You promised you'd keep living. You promised you'd be happy again. Lily's voice had cracked. You're breaking your promise, Dad. Then she'd handed him a slip of paper with a name and phone number written in her careful print. Victoria Hayes, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Don't mess this up. Where did you get this? Aunt Rebecca set it up. I made her. Lily, I can't just... You can. You will. I already told her yes for you. So here he sat, 42 years old, widower, owner of a landscaping company that barely kept him busy enough to avoid his own thoughts. This restaurant where he was supposed to celebrate his 10th anniversary with Emma, waiting for a stranger, feeling like the world's biggest fraud. His phone buzzed. Rebecca's text glowed on the screen. Her name is Victoria. She's incredible. CEO of her own tech company. Also, don't freak out, but she uses a wheelchair. Car accident 5 years ago. She's nervous you'll bail when you see her. Please don't be that guy, Nathan. He stared at the message. A wheelchair. He thought about Emma at the end, the hospital bed, the machines, the way she'd squeezed his hand with what little strength remained and made him promise. Don't turn into one of those sad widowers who forgets how to live. He typed back, I'm not that guy, Rebecca. I know. That's why I picked her for you. The restaurant hummed with Saturday night energy. Crystal clinked against china. Conversations layered into white noise. Nathan straightened the tie Lily had picked out this morning. The navy one, she said, made him look less like a sad potato. Her words, not his. 8 o'clock. Still no Victoria. The waiter appeared at his elbow for the 4th time, sympathy written across his professionally neutral face. Sir, would you like to order while you wait? Just water, thanks. Of course. Nathan's jaw tightened. She wasn't coming. Nobody was coming. This was stupid. He was stupid for hoping that a piece of paper from his daughter could somehow fix the hollow space in his chest where Emma used to live. The front door opened. Everything stopped. Victoria Hayes wheeled through the entrance with her heart hammering against her ribs and her 14-month-old son Marcus strapped to her chest in a carrier. 32 years old, CEO of a tech startup she'd built from nothing, worth more money than most people would see in a lifetime. And right now, she wanted to disappear into the marble floor. Every head in the restaurant turned. She knew what they saw. A woman in a wheelchair, expensive dress, Prada, sleeping baby. Arriving alone to an upscale steakhouse where children didn't exist and wheelchairs were an architectural problem. The hostess's smile flickered. Early 20s, blonde, The kind of pretty that came with assumptions about who belonged in spaces like this. Good evening. Do you have a reservation? Hayes. Victoria Hayes. 7:30. Table for 2. The hostess glanced at Marcus, then at the wheelchair, her professional mask slipping. You're quite late, and we don't have high chairs here. Victoria felt heat crawl up her neck. She knew that tone, heard it 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. I see you couldn't find childcare. I see you thought it was appropriate to bring an infant here. I see you're going to be a problem. He's sleeping. He'll stay sleeping. I just need 15 minutes. 15 minutes to meet this man Rebecca had described as kind and broken and ready. 15 minutes to prove she could still do normal things like go on dates. 15 minutes before her entire carefully constructed life fell apart again. Is my date still here? Victoria kept her voice steady through sheer force of will. Tall man, probably looks uncomfortable. The hostess checked her list with visible reluctance. Mr. Brooks is at table 12. But ma'am, I should mention our dining room isn't exactly child-friendly. He's asleep. I'll manage. Victoria wheeled past tables of couples celebrating anniversaries and business dinners closing deals. She felt their eyes tracking her movement, heard the whispers bleeding through the expensive silence. Is that a baby? Who brings a baby to the Driscoll? Is she in a wheelchair? She kept her chin up. That trick had taken years to master. Look confident even when you're dying inside. Especially when you're dying inside. Table 12 came into view and Victoria's breath caught. The man sitting there was watching her approach with an expression she couldn't read. Early 40s, dark hair silvered at the temples, green eyes that looked tired and kind at the same time. Handsome in that weathered way that came from years of working outdoors. Strong hands wrapped around a water glass. He didn't look away when he saw the wheelchair, didn't flinch when he saw Marcus. He stood up, actually stood up for her. Victoria. His voice was warm, deeper than she'd expected. The kind of voice that made you trust a person before your brain caught up. Nathan. She stopped at the edge of the table, suddenly aware of how ridiculous she must look. I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry I brought... She gestured at Marcus, still sleeping against her chest. My sitter had an emergency. Her mother fell. I couldn't just cancel because I've already canceled 3 times, and I thought maybe he'd sleep through it, and... I know this is insane. I know I look insane, and you can absolutely leave right now. I would leave right now if I were you. I would run. Hey, Nathan held up a hand, cutting through her spiral. Breathe. Victoria stopped talking. Her lungs remembered how to function. Nathan looked at Marcus, really looked, and a small smile crossed his face. He's cute. What's his name? Victoria blinked. What? The baby. Does he have a name, or do you just call him the reason I'm late? A startled laugh escaped her before she could stop it. Marcus. His name is Marcus. Marcus. Nathan nodded approval. Good name. Strong. My daughter's going to be jealous she didn't get a strong name like Marcus. She's stuck with Lily. Lily's beautiful. Tell her that. She wanted to be named Thunder when she was 6. Something loosened in Victoria's chest. This wasn't what she'd expected. He wasn't what she'd expected. Nathan pulled out the chair across from him, then paused. Wait, that's dumb. You don't need... He pushed the chair aside instead, creating space for her wheelchair at the table. There. Better. He didn't make a show of it, didn't wait for applause, just moved the furniture and sat back down like it was the most natural thing in the world. Thank you. I wanted to. Victoria wheeled into place, positioning herself so Marcus was slightly shielded from the rest of the restaurant. Nathan sat across from her, and for a moment, they just looked at each other. So, Nathan's mouth quirked. Blind dates are weird. The worst. My 10-year-old daughter made me come tonight. My assistant made me. Victoria felt herself smiling, despite everything. She said I was becoming a hermit and scaring the interns. Nathan laughed. A real laugh, not the polite kind people used when they were uncomfortable. How long have you been a hermit? Since Marcus was born. 14 months. I've got you beat. 3 years. Victoria tilted her head, curious. Rebecca had mentioned Nathan was a widower, but the details had been sparse. I'm sorry about your wife. Nathan's expression shifted, softened into something that looked like old pain worn smooth. Mia. Cancer. She fought like hell for 2 years. He shook his head. You know what? Let's not start with the sad stuff. Tell me something else. Tell me something good. Something good? Yeah, something that made you happy today. Anything. Victoria thought about it. Her day had been a disaster from the moment she woke up. The board meeting where 3 men talked over her for an hour straight. The babysitter canceling. The moment in her car when she'd almost turned around and gone home because showing up anywhere felt like asking for rejection. But then she remembered. Earlier. Much earlier. Marcus said his first word this morning. Nathan grinned. Yeah? What did he say? No. A man who knows what he wants. He's been saying it all day. Victoria found herself relaxing despite the stares, despite everything. I asked if he wanted breakfast. No. I asked if he wanted his teddy bear. No. I asked if he loved me. No. Sounds like a future CEO. He gets it from me. They were both smiling now, really smiling. Victoria couldn't remember the last time she'd smiled like this with someone who wasn't Marcus. Nathan opened his menu. So what's good here? I've never actually eaten at this place, even though I've been sitting in this exact chair for 45 minutes. Victoria started to answer. The restaurant manager appeared at their table like a storm cloud in a suit. His name tag read Gregory Whitmore, General Manager. Mid-50s, silver hair, the kind of pinched expression that suggested the world was constantly disappointing him. I'm sorry, but we've received complaints. Victoria's stomach dropped. Complaints? About what? Nathan's voice had gone cold. Gregory gestured vaguely at Marcus. The child. He's sleeping. Several guests have expressed. He hasn't made a sound. Nathan's eyes narrowed. He's literally asleep right now. Be that as it may, the Driscoll maintains a certain standard. We are not a family establishment. Other guests are concerned about potential disruptions. Victoria felt the familiar burn of humiliation climbing her neck. This had happened before, would happen again. Every time she tried to exist in spaces that weren't designed for people like her, disabled, single mother, refusing to hide, someone was there to remind her she didn't belong. She reached for her wheels. Just leave. Don't make a scene. Don't give them the satisfaction. But Nathan's voice cut through her thoughts like thunder. No. Gregory blinked. I beg your pardon? She's not leaving. Nathan stood up, all 6'2" of him. We have a reservation. We haven't ordered yet, and last I checked, there's no law against bringing a sleeping infant to dinner. So this isn't about legality. You're right. It's about you being uncomfortable. And that's a you problem. I'm going to have to ask you to lower your voice. Then stop giving me reasons to raise it. Victoria watched this man, this stranger she'd met 5 minutes ago, standing up for her the way no one ever had. Not Jason, not her parents, not the investors who'd questioned whether a woman in a wheelchair could really run a company. No one. Nathan was still talking, his voice steady and implacable. And if you have a problem with a mother trying to have dinner with a baby who isn't bothering anyone, then maybe your standards need some work. Gregory's face had gone tight and cold. Sir, I'm going to have to ask both of you to leave. Fine. Nathan pulled out his wallet. We'll leave. But I want your name, your manager's name, and your corporate contact because I'm going to make sure everyone knows that the Driscoll discriminates against mothers with infants. That's not, and if you even think about touching her wheelchair to escort her out, I promise you, you will regret it. The manager's hand, which had been reaching toward Victoria's chair, froze midair. I wasn't going to. Yes, you were. Silence fell like a weight. The entire restaurant was watching now, watching Nathan Brooks, landscaper, defend a woman he'd just met against a manager who thought power came with a title. Gregory stepped back, his professional mask cracking. I'll have someone bring your bill. There is no bill. We didn't order anything. You saw to that. The manager walked away fast, like he couldn't get far enough from Nathan's glare. Nathan slowly unclenched his fists. Sorry, I don't usually lose my temper like that. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. You don't even know me. I know enough. Victoria felt something crack open in her chest, something she'd kept locked and guarded for 5 years. I know a place. Terrible lighting, sticky menus, a waitress named Dot who's been working there since approximately the dinosaur era, but she gives free refills on milkshakes and nobody will look at you twice. Nathan met her eyes. You want to continue this date after all that? After all that? Victoria's voice came out softer than she intended. You just fought for me. A stranger. You think I'm letting you go that easy? Marcus stirred against her chest, made a small sound. Nathan's expression gentled. Then let's get out of here. The diner was exactly as terrible as Nathan had promised. Cracked vinyl booths, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry insects, a jukebox in the corner playing Patsy Cline at a volume that suggested the speaker was dying. Magnolia Cafe, open 24 hours, filled with college students and night shift workers and people who didn't care about appearances. It was perfect. Dot appeared the moment they walked in. 70-something, silver hair, eyeshadow blue enough to be visible from space. She took one look at Victoria's wheelchair and Marcus's carrier and smiled. Corner booth's got the most room, sweetheart. I'll bring the high chair just in case the little one wakes up.
Thank you.
You want menus or you want the good stuff? Nathan looked at Victoria. The good stuff is burgers and chocolate milkshakes. Then the good stuff. Dot winked. Smart woman. Be right back. They settled into the booth, Victoria positioning herself at the end where her chair fit perfectly, Marcus miraculously still sleeping. Nathan slid into the seat across from her, and the tension from the restaurant began to drain away. So, Nathan leaned back. Tell me the real story. The real story? CEO, tech company, baby, wheelchair. That's a lot for the first 8 bullet points. What's the actual story? Victoria felt the familiar walls going up. The automatic deflection. Don't show weakness. Don't give them ammunition. Don't trust. But something about Nathan's face, the openness in his expression, The way he was leaning forward like he actually wanted to know made her pause. Car accident, 5 years ago. Drunk driver ran a red light. And the baby? Victoria smiled, but it was complicated. Marcus was unexpected. His father didn't want him. Or me. Once he realized I wasn't going to recover the way he'd hoped. Nathan's jaw tightened. He left because of the wheelchair? He left because of what the wheelchair meant. That I was always going to be this way. That our life was never going to be what he pictured. That I was always going to need... She swallowed. Help. Accommodations. Modifications. He said he didn't sign up for that. Then he's a coward and an idiot. Victoria looked at him. You say that very confidently for someone who just met me. I say that because I know what it means to sign up for something. Nathan's voice went quiet. Mia was sick for 2 years. At the end, she couldn't do anything for herself. I was her caretaker. I was her nurse. I was everything. He paused, and I would have done it for 50 more years if she'd let me. The words hung in the air between them. Victoria felt her throat tighten. That's not the same. You chose that after you already loved her. This guy, Jason, he didn't even give me the chance to be loved first. He just saw the chair and decided I wasn't worth the trouble. Nathan shook his head slowly. Then he missed the whole point. What point? That love isn't about convenience. It's about showing up when everything's falling apart and saying, I'm not going anywhere. That's it. That's the whole thing. He picked up a napkin, started folding it without looking at his hands. Mia told me something right before she died. She said, Nathan, the world is full of people looking for reasons to leave. Be the person who finds reasons to stay. Victoria felt tears burning behind her eyes. She blinked them back, but they came anyway. Dot appeared with 2 chocolate milkshakes the size of her head and 2 burgers that could feed a small army. Anything else, sweethearts? We're good, thanks, Dot. You holler if you need me. She shuffled away. Victoria grabbed her milkshake like it was a lifeline. Okay, your turn. Tell me the real story. Nathan laughed, but it was heavy. You already know the big stuff. Mia, cancer, 3 years of being a ghost. What about your daughter? His face changed, softened in a way Victoria hadn't seen yet. Lily is the only reason I get up in the morning. She's 10. She's brilliant. She's furious with me for spending 3 years feeling sorry for myself, which is why I'm here tonight. She sounds amazing. She is. She's also terrifying. Last week she made a PowerPoint presentation about why I needed to start dating again. 15 slides, footnotes, a bibliography. Victoria choked on her milkshake. What? I'm not joking. Slide 7 was titled, Dad's Mental Health, a Declining Graph. She printed copies. Oh my God. She gave one to her teacher. I got a very concerned phone call. Victoria was laughing now, really laughing, the kind that made her stomach hurt and her eyes water. Nathan watched her laugh, and something in his expression shifted. What? Victoria asked, catching her breath. Nothing, just... He shook his head. You have a good laugh. I didn't expect that. What did you expect? I don't know. Someone more careful, controlled. You run a company, you must have to be so composed all the time. Victoria's smile faded slightly. I do. I have to be. Every meeting, every presentation, every negotiation. I know they're looking for weaknesses. The wheelchair gives them one. Marcus gives them another. If I show any crack in the armor, they'll tear me apart. That sounds exhausting. It is. Nathan reached across the table. His fingers brushed the back of her hand, light, barely there. So who do you get to be when you're not performing? Victoria opened her mouth, closed it, thought about the question. Nobody had ever asked her that before. I don't know. I haven't been that person in a long time. Maybe since before the accident. Maybe never. Nathan's hand stayed where it was, warm against her skin. That's sad. You deserve to have a place where you don't have to be strong all the time. I just met you. I know. This is a first date. I know. You're saying things that people don't usually say on first dates. Nathan pulled his hand back, but his eyes stayed on hers. My wife used to say I had no filter, that I said everything I was thinking, and it was either my best quality or my worst, depending on the day. Which is it today? Haven't decided yet. Ask me at the end of the night. Marcus chose that exact moment to wake up. His eyes opened, focused on Nathan's face, and he let out a delighted shriek that made half the diner turn around. Oh boy. Victoria reached for him. Sorry, he's going to be loud now. But Nathan was already waving his hands at the baby, making ridiculous faces. Marcus giggled. Actually giggled. The sound pure joy. He likes you. Kids usually do. Adults find me annoying. Kids think I'm hilarious. I'm not sure what that says about my maturity level. Nothing good. Marcus reached his chubby arms toward Nathan, making grabby hands. Can I? Victoria hesitated, then nodded. Nathan lifted Marcus out of the carrier with the ease of someone who'd done this before. He settled the baby on his lap, making a face that was approximately 70% nose and 30% eyebrows. Marcus screamed with laughter. Victoria sat there watching this man, this stranger, hold her son with such natural comfort, and felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. Oh no, I'm going to fall in love with him. This is going to ruin everything. You okay? Nathan glanced up at her. Fine. Victoria grabbed her milkshake. Totally fine. But she wasn't fine. She wasn't fine at all, because for the first time in 5 years, she'd met someone who looked at her wheelchair, and her baby, and her exhaustion, and her walls, and instead of running, he'd sat down, ordered a milkshake, and asked her who she really was. 3 hours later, they were still in that booth. Marcus had fallen asleep again, this time in Nathan's arms. The burgers were long gone. The milkshakes had been refilled twice, and Victoria had told Nathan things she'd never told anyone. About her parents, who'd suggested she reconsider keeping Marcus, because raising a child from a wheelchair will be so hard, sweetheart. About Jason, who'd handed her divorce papers 3 months into her pregnancy. About the board members who questioned whether she could really handle being CEO while dealing with her physical limitations. About the nights she'd cried herself to sleep, wondering if everyone was right, if she was crazy for thinking she could have a career and a child and a life that didn't revolve around her disability. Nathan listened to all of it, didn't interrupt, didn't offer solutions, didn't say that must be so hard in that pitying voice she hated. He just listened. When she was done, he said, You know what I think? What? I think you're the bravest person I've ever met. And I think every single person who doubted you is going to spend the rest of their lives being wrong. Victoria felt tears sliding down her cheeks. She wiped them away, embarrassed. Sorry. I don't usually cry in front of strangers. We're not strangers anymore. We met 4 hours ago. Doesn't matter. Nathan shifted Marcus gently in his arms, looked at Victoria with an intensity that made her breath catch. Some people you know for years and they never see you. Some people you know for hours and they see everything. I see you, Victoria. The real you. Not the CEO, not the wheelchair, not the single mom performance. The real person underneath all that armor. And what do you see? Someone who's been alone for too long. Someone who's forgotten what it feels like to have backup. Someone who deserves a lot more than she's been given. Victoria couldn't speak. Nathan continued, softer now. I'm not asking you for anything tonight. I'm not trying to be smooth or romantic or whatever. I'm just saying, when you're ready, if you ever want someone to stand next to you instead of across from you, I'd like to apply for that position. Nathan, you don't have to answer now. You don't have to answer ever. I just wanted you to know that you have options, that not everyone is going to leave. The jukebox clicked to a new song, something slow and old and achingly sad. Marcus stirred in Nathan's arms, made a small sound, then settled again. Victoria looked at this man holding her son with such tenderness, this man who'd stood up for her to a restaurant manager, this man who'd listened for hours without judgment, this man who saw her. I'm scared. Of what? Of believing you. Of letting myself hope. Every time I've hoped for something, it's been taken away. I don't know if I can survive that again. Nathan nodded slowly. I understand that better than you know. Because of Mia? Because of everything. Losing her almost killed me. There were days. His voice cracked. He cleared his throat. There were days I didn't want to wake up. The only thing that kept me going was Lily needing me. If she hadn't needed me... He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't have to. We're both broken. Yeah. Maybe too broken. Maybe. Nathan looked at her. Or maybe broken people are the only ones who know how to be gentle with each other. Victoria thought about that. Thought about all the people who'd handled her like she was fragile in the wrong way, like her disability made her less than, rather than someone who needed a different kind of care. Nathan hadn't treated her like she was less than. He treated her like she was enough. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, I'd like to see you again. But slowly. Really slowly. I have a company that's demanding and a baby who needs me, and approximately 17 different reasons why this is a terrible idea. Nathan smiled. That warm, tired, genuine smile she was already starting to look forward to. Slow sounds perfect. I've got a daughter who needs to approve you first anyway. Fair warning, she's tougher than any board of directors. I can handle tough. I believe you can. Dot appeared at the table with a check. You two going to buy the place or just rent it for the night? Nathan laughed. Sorry, Dot. We lost track of time. Don't apologize. Nice to see young people actually talking to each other instead of staring at their phones. She looked at Marcus asleep in Nathan's arms. Cute kid. He yours? Nathan glanced at Victoria. Something passed between them. Working on it. Dot smiled and walked away. They said goodbye in the parking lot. Nathan insisted on following Victoria to her apartment to make sure she got home safely. She insisted she didn't need an escort. They argued about it for 5 minutes before Marcus started crying and they both decided the baby had spoken. At her building, Nathan walked her to her car. "Thank you for tonight, for everything. Thank you for not running away when I started yelling at the restaurant manager." "Thank you for yelling at the restaurant manager." They both smiled. Nathan leaned in, kissed her cheek, soft, quick, barely there. "Good night, Victoria." "Good night, Nathan." She watched him walk back to his truck, watched him wave before climbing in. And as she drove home with Marcus sleeping in the back seat, she replayed the entire night in her head. The restaurant, the manager, the yelling, the diner, the milkshakes, the conversation. The way Nathan had held her son like he mattered. The way Nathan had looked at her like she mattered. "Okay, Marcus," she whispered to her sleeping baby. "I think we might be in trouble." Marcus predictably said nothing, but Victoria could have sworn he smiled. Victoria woke up Monday morning to her phone screaming at 6 a.m. and the immediate crushing weight of reality slamming back into her chest. The blind date was over. Real life was waiting. She lay there staring at her ceiling, Marcus still asleep in his crib, and ran through the disaster list in her head. Board meeting at 9, CFO. Patricia Wells had been circling for months, questioning every decision, every allocation, every moment Victoria spent away from her desk. 3 investors wavering after last quarter's numbers. Legal team sending documents she hadn't read because reading required time she didn't have. And somewhere in all of that, she had to be a mother. Her phone buzzed. Not another crisis email. "Nathan, how are you? How's Marcus?" Victoria stared at the message for a full minute. Her first instinct was to ignore it, to let the weekend stay in the weekend where it belonged, to keep this man in a box labeled "nice memory" and never open it again. But her thumbs were already typing. "We're fine. Survived the night. Thank you again for Saturday. Send." 3 dots appeared immediately. "Lily wants to know when she can meet the lady with the cool wheels." Her words, not mine. Victoria laughed out loud. The sound startled Marcus, who made a grumpy noise and went back to sleep. "She sounds like a handful. She's a complete nightmare, and I love her more than breathing. She's also demanding I invite you to dinner this week. I told her that's too fast. She told me I'm sabotaging my own happiness. She's 10. She sounds smarter than most adults I know. She's terrifying. So, dinner? No pressure. Lily will do all the talking. I'll just sit there looking uncomfortable." Victoria's thumb hovered over the keyboard. This was a bad idea. She knew it was a bad idea. She had a company hanging by a thread and a baby to raise and approximately 0 bandwidth for romance. But she kept thinking about the way Nathan had looked at her in that diner, like she was worth seeing. "When?" "Wednesday, 6 p.m. My place. I make a mean grilled cheese." "You're wooing me with grilled cheese?" "I'm wooing you with honesty. Grilled cheese is all I can cook without setting off the smoke detector." Victoria smiled at her phone like an idiot. "Wednesday works. Send me the address." "Done. See you then, Victoria." She put her phone down and pressed her hands against her face. What am I doing? But she knew. She was hoping. And hope was the most dangerous thing of all. The board meeting was a bloodbath. Victoria wheeled into the conference room at 8:58. Marcus safely deposited with her assistant Jennifer, who had agreed to emergency babysitting duty for triple her hourly rate. 12 faces turned toward her. 11 looked skeptical. Patricia Wells looked actively hostile. Victoria. Patricia didn't stand up. Glad you could make it. I'm 2 minutes early, Patricia. The quarterly numbers are concerning. Revenue down 12%, expenses up 15%. The board needs to understand if leadership is maintaining focus. Victoria felt her stomach drop, but kept her face neutral. Revenue is down because we're investing in R&D for the new platform. Patricia knows this. We discussed it 3 months ago. That was before certain personal developments changed the equation. Patricia's eyes flicked meaningfully to Victoria's purse, where a photo of Marcus peeked out from the side pocket. The room went cold. Personal developments. Victoria's voice could have cut glass. Would you like to clarify that, Patricia? I'm simply noting that divided attention affects performance. The board has a fiduciary duty to ensure our CEO can dedicate the necessary time and energy to her role. Translation: you're a mother now. You're distracted. You're weak. Victoria leaned forward, hands flat on the conference table. Let me be very clear. I built this company from a hospital bed after an accident that should have killed me. I learned to code again with limited hand mobility. I pitched to investors who thought I was a charity case. I grew this company to $80 million in revenue while every person in this city told me a disabled woman couldn't run a tech startup. She paused, meeting each board member's eyes in turn. If Patricia wants to question my focus, let's look at actual metrics. Client retention is at 97%. Patent filings are up 30% year over year. Our platform has 0 unplanned downtime. So unless Patricia has specific performance failures to cite, I suggest we move on to actual business. Silence. CFO. Patricia Wells's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. Board member Robert Thompson cleared his throat. The numbers speak for themselves. Victoria has my confidence. Shall we review the R&D pipeline? The meeting continued. Victoria presented the development roadmap, fielded questions, defended projections. Patricia remained silent, which somehow felt worse than active opposition. When it ended, Victoria wheeled out before anyone could stop her. In the hallway, she stopped, closed her eyes, let herself shake for exactly 5 seconds. Then she straightened her spine and went back to work. Jennifer met her outside her office with Marcus on her hip and worry on her face. How bad? Patricia's making her move. That snake, I never liked her. Nobody likes her. She's very good at her job. Victoria reached for Marcus, who grabbed her face with both hands and announced, No! With great enthusiasm. I need you to find me a new babysitter. Someone reliable. Someone who won't quit via text. On it. Also, Nathan Brooks called the office. Victoria's heart stuttered. He called the office? Said he didn't want to bother you on your cell during work hours. Very old-fashioned. Jennifer smiled. He sounds nice. He is nice. Is that why you're blushing? I'm not blushing. I'm having a stress response. Sure you are. Victoria took Marcus and retreated to her office before Jennifer could say anything else. She spent the next 4 hours reviewing legal documents, fielding calls from nervous investors, and trying to keep Marcus entertained with a collection of toys that lived in her bottom drawer. By 5 o'clock, she was exhausted. Marcus was cranky, and she still hadn't found a babysitter. Her phone buzzed. Nathan again. Still on for Wednesday? Victoria looked at the mountain of work on her desk, the emails she hadn't answered, the crisis she hadn't solved, the baby who needed her attention and the company that demanded her focus, and the man who made her feel like maybe she deserved to be happy. Still on. Good. Lily's already planning the menu. Prepare yourself. Should I be worried? Absolutely. Wednesday arrived faster than Victoria expected. She spent 20 minutes picking out an outfit, which was 20 minutes more than she'd spent on clothing choices in months. She finally settled on a soft blue sweater that Jennifer had once called approachable, and tried not to think about why she cared. Nathan's house was in a neighborhood with actual sidewalks and trees that weren't dying. Real houses with real yards where real families lived normal lives. Victoria pulled into the driveway, took a breath, and grabbed Marcus from his car seat. Before she could even reach the front door, it flew open. A small blonde tornado came sprinting out.
You're here! Dad, they're here! Is that Marcus? He's so cute! Can I hold him? I'm Lily, I'm 10.
I made the menu. We're having grilled cheese and tomato soup, and I wanted to make a salad, but Dad said I wasn't allowed to use the knife. So we have baby carrots instead. Is that okay? Do you like baby carrots? Victoria blinked, trying to process the rapid-fire information.
Yes, I like baby carrots.
Perfect. Lily grabbed her hand, just grabbed it like they'd known each other forever, and started pulling her toward the house. Dad's in the kitchen. He's nervous. He kept checking his hair in the mirror. It was really funny. Lily? Nathan appeared in the doorway looking mortified. What did we talk about? Not telling Victoria embarrassing things about you. And what did you just do? Told her embarrassing things about you. Lily grinned. But Dad, she should know who she's dealing with. Victoria laughed. She couldn't help it. This kid was incredible. I appreciate the honesty, Lily. See, Dad? She appreciates it. Nathan sighed, but he was smiling. Come inside before my daughter shares my entire browser history. The house was warm, lived in. Toys scattered across the living room floor. Drawings taped to the walls. A garden visible through the back window that was more weeds than vegetables. Nothing like Victoria's sterile, perfectly accessible apartment. She loved it immediately. The accessible bathroom's down the hall if you need it. Nathan's ears were going red. I had a ramp guy come yesterday for the front step. I noticed you had to bump up on Saturday, and I didn't want... I hope that's okay. I should have asked first. Was that weird? That was probably weird. Victoria stared at him. You installed a ramp? Just a small one, removable, in case you thought it was presumptuous. Nathan, yeah? That's the most thoughtful thing anyone's ever done for me. His ears went redder. It's just a ramp. It's not just a ramp. They looked at each other for a moment that stretched too long, until Lily appeared with Marcus somehow already in her arms.
He likes me. He said my name.
Well, he said Lee, but that's close enough.
Can I show him my room? I have a whole section set up for babies. I've been preparing.
You've been preparing? Victoria asked.
Since Dad told me about you. I Googled how to make babies happy and made a plan.
She held up Marcus like a trophy.
Step 1, establish trust. Step 2, introduce controlled stimulation. Step 3, snacks.
Nathan put his face in his hands. She's been like this for 3 days.
I love her.
Everyone does. It's exhausting. Dinner was chaos in the best possible way. Lily talked non-stop, asking Victoria questions about everything from her job to her wheelchair to Marcus.
So you're like a boss of a whole company? That's so cool. Does it go fast? Can you do wheelies? My friend Jake has a skateboard and he can do tricks. Does Marcus have a dad? My mom died.
It's okay if his dad died too. We can be a club. Nathan kept apologizing. Victoria kept telling him to stop. She's perfect. Victoria watched Lily feed Marcus tiny pieces of grilled cheese with surgical precision. Seriously, she's amazing. She's a lot. So am I. Nathan looked at her. Really
looked. Yeah, you are. After dinner, Lily insisted on showing Victoria her room, which meant Marcus got the full tour of her stuffed animal collection, her bookshelf, and the corner she'd set up with a blanket and pillows. For when Marcus needs a nap, I thought of everything. Victoria watched this 10-year-old girl care for her son with such natural tenderness and felt something crack open in her chest. Lily, can I ask you something? Sure. Your dad told me about your mom. I'm really sorry. Lily's face changed, softened, grew older somehow. Thanks. It was really hard. Dad cried a lot. I tried to be strong for him, but sometimes I cried too. That's okay.
Crying doesn't mean you're not strong. That's what Mom said before she died. Lily sat down on her bed, pulling Marcus into her lap. She told me to take care of Dad. She said he forgets to eat when he's sad, and he watches too much TV, and he needs someone to make him go outside. That sounds like a big job for a little girl. I'm not that little. I'm almost 11. Lily paused. I like you, Victoria. I like you too, Lily. I think you're good for my dad. He smiled more tonight than he has in forever, and he actually brushed his hair. Victoria laughed, despite the tears forming in her eyes. If you hurt him, I'll be really mad. Lily's voice was serious now. He's been hurt enough. So you have to promise to be careful with him. Okay? Victoria felt the weight of that request settle on her shoulders. This child, this fierce, loving, extraordinary child. I promise. And Lily, same goes for you. If I ever do anything that makes you uncomfortable, you tell me. Deal? Lily stuck out her hand. Deal. They shook on it. Nathan found them 20 minutes later, both sitting on Lily's bed with Marcus between them, looking at photo albums.
That's Mom.
Lily was pointing at a picture. She was really pretty and really funny, and she made the best pancakes. She sounds wonderful.
She was. I miss her every day.
Lily looked up at her dad standing in the doorway.
But Mom said it's okay to love new people. She said hearts can hold lots of people at once. Right, Dad?
Nathan's voice was rough. Right, sweetheart.
So Victoria can be a new person, and Marcus too. Our hearts are big enough.
Victoria couldn't speak. Nathan crossed the room, sat on the edge of the bed, and pulled Lily into a hug. When did you get so smart?
I've always been smart. You just don't pay attention.
I pay attention. You didn't notice I ate cookies before dinner.
You what?
Oops. The moment broke into laughter, and Victoria thought, this is what family feels like. This is what I've been missing.
It was 9 before Victoria finally said she needed to get Marcus home. Nathan walked her to her car, carrying the diaper bag while she carried Marcus, who had fallen asleep on her shoulder. Thank you. Tonight was... I don't have words. Lily's already planning the next one. She wants to do a movie night. She says Marcus is old enough for animated films. He's 14 months. I mentioned that. She said I was limiting his potential. Victoria laughed. God, I love her. She's pretty great. Nathan paused at her car door. So are you. Nathan, I know. Slowly. I remember. He opened her car door, waited while she got Marcus settled. But Victoria, I'm really glad you came tonight. Me too. She drove home with Marcus sleeping in the back seat, and a warmth in her chest that felt foreign and dangerous and wonderful. Her phone buzzed when she got home. Lily wants you to know that Marcus is approved, and you can bring him back any time. Tell her the feeling is mutual.
She also wants you to know that I'm approved too, but I have to prove myself more first. Smart girl. The smartest. Good night, Victoria. Good night, Nathan. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of dinners at Nathan's house and lunches at the diner and late-night phone calls that lasted hours. 3 weeks of Lily teaching Marcus his colors and Nathan making Victoria laugh, and the four of them slowly, carefully building something that looked like a family. 3 weeks of Victoria falling deeper and deeper into something she couldn't control. And then everything fell apart. It was a Thursday afternoon. Victoria was at Nathan's house, working from his kitchen table while Marcus napped in the guest room and Lily did homework at the counter. Nathan was outside dealing with a work call, his voice a distant murmur through the window. The doorbell rang. "I'll get it." Lily jumped up. Victoria heard the door open, heard Lily's voice go flat in a way she'd never heard before. "Grandma." "Grandpa, Lily, sweetheart, we wanted to surprise you. Dad's outside." "That's fine. We'll wait." Footsteps approached the kitchen. Victoria straightened in her chair, preparing herself. An older couple appeared in the doorway. The woman was elegant, silver-haired, with sharp eyes that took in every detail of the room in one sweep. The man was tall and weathered, with Nathan's jaw and an expression that gave nothing away. Their eyes landed on Victoria, on her wheelchair, on the diaper bag on the counter. The woman's smile flickered, recovered, hardened. "Oh, you must be a friend of Nathan's." Victoria extended her hand, refusing to show weakness. "Victoria Hayes, you must be Mia's parents. It's nice to meet you." The woman, Carol Morrison, Victoria remembered, took her hand briefly, limply, like she was afraid of catching something. "Yes, we're family." The emphasis on that last word landed like a punch. Nathan came through the back door, phone still in hand, and froze when he saw his in-laws. Frank, Carol. "I didn't know you were coming." Frank's voice was cool. "We wanted to surprise Lily, and apparently we succeeded." Carol's eyes moved from Victoria's face to her wheelchair, to the diaper bag, to Lily standing stiffly by the refrigerator. "Dad." Lily's voice was tight. "They want to wait inside." "Of course." Nathan moved to Victoria's side, a small gesture of solidarity that didn't go unnoticed. "Victoria, this is Frank and Carol Morrison, Mia's parents. Frank, Carol, this is Victoria. We're seeing each other." The silence that followed was deafening. Carol's eyes traveled the length of Victoria's body, cataloging, judging, finding her wanting. "I see. How nice." Victoria recognized that tone. She'd heard it 1,000 times from doctors who thought she was wasting their time, from investors who thought she was a charity case, from Jason the day he left. "You're not what I expected. You're not what I wanted. You're not enough." Nathan's hand touched her shoulder, warm, solid, present. "Victoria runs her own tech company. She's brilliant." "I'm sure she is." Frank's voice was flat as concrete. "Can we speak privately, Nathan?" Carol's request was phrased like a question, but sounded like a command. "Whatever you want to say, you can say in front of Victoria. I don't think that's appropriate. And I don't think showing up unannounced and being rude to my girlfriend is appropriate. But here we are." Carol's face flushed. "Nathan, we're just concerned. About Lily, about this family, about decisions being made too quickly without considering the consequences." "What consequences?"
Carol glanced at Victoria, then away. You know what I mean. Victoria felt the words like physical blows, but she kept her face neutral. Years of practice. I should go. She reached for her wheels. You don't have to. Nathan's jaw was tight. I know.
But I think you need to have this conversation. And I think it'll be easier without me here. She looked at Lily, who was watching with wide, worried eyes. Lily, I'll see you soon, okay? Okay. Lily's voice was small. Victoria gathered her things, collected Marcus from the guest room, and wheeled toward the door. Nathan followed her outside, closing the door behind them. Victoria, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. They're protecting their daughter's memory. I understand. They were rude. They were scared. She looked up at him, this man who kept standing up for her. Nathan, they're not wrong to be worried. This is fast. We are moving fast, and I come with a lot of complications. I don't care about complications. You should. Victoria took his hand. Call me after they leave. We need to talk. His face fell. That sounds bad. It's not bad. It's just necessary. She squeezed his hand, then let go. Inside the house, she could hear raised voices starting, Frank's deep rumble, Nathan's sharp responses, Lily's high, distressed tone cutting through both. Victoria drove home with Marcus babbling in the back seat and tears burning behind her eyes. They're right. You're too much, too complicated, too broken. He deserves someone easier, someone whole, someone who doesn't come with a wheelchair and a baby and a company falling apart. By the time she got home, she had almost convinced herself to end it. But then her phone rang. That was fast. I asked them to leave. Nathan's voice was rough, angry, hurt. Victoria, I am so sorry. They had no right. What did they say after I left? Silence on the line, then a sigh. They said I'm not thinking clearly, that I'm looking for someone to replace Mia, that you're... He stopped. That I'm what? Taking advantage of my grief. That Lily needs stability, not a disabled woman with a baby. They didn't say it like that. They didn't have to. Victoria closed her eyes. Nathan, maybe they're right. They're not. You barely know me. I know enough. You don't know what my life is like, the complications, the accommodations, the way people look at us when we're together. You don't know how hard it is. Then tell me. His voice cracked. Tell me everything. The complications, the accommodations, all of it. Because I'm not going anywhere, Victoria. And if you think Frank and Carol Morrison are going to scare me off, you don't know me at all. She felt tears spilling over now, couldn't stop them. Why? The word came out broken. Why do you keep fighting for this? For me? Because you're worth fighting for. His voice was steady now, certain. Because Lily loves you. Because Marcus makes me feel like I have a purpose again. Because when I'm with you, I remember what it feels like to be alive instead of just surviving. He paused. The line crackled with silence and static and all the things neither of them were saying. Because I love you, Victoria. And I know it's too soon, and I know it's crazy, and I know I'm supposed to say it differently, better, but I can't help it. I love you. Victoria couldn't breathe. Say something. Nathan's voice was smaller now. Please. I'm scared. I know. I'm really, really scared. I know. I love you too. The words came out broken, terrified, true. And it terrifies me, and I don't know what to do with it. You don't have to do anything. Just don't run away. Please. I'm not running. Promise. I promise. She heard him exhale, relief and fear and hope tangled together. Okay. Okay, we'll figure out the rest together. Together. They stayed on the phone for another 2 hours, and when Victoria finally hung up, she looked at Marcus sleeping in his crib and thought, maybe this is what hope feels like. Maybe I'm allowed to have this. Maybe for once the good things won't disappear. But she knew deep in her bones that the hard part was just beginning. The next morning, Victoria's doctor delivered news that would change everything. Dr. Sarah Williams sat across from her in the examination room, a folder open on her lap. Marcus played on the floor with blocks the nurse had provided. 40 minutes of tests and measurements and questions about pain levels and mobility and quality of life had led to this moment. Victoria, there's a new treatment program at Massachusetts General in Boston. Experimental. Nerve stimulation combined with intensive physical therapy. Victoria's hands tightened on her wheels. Will it help me walk? No. Dr. Williams was gentle but honest. But it could improve motor control significantly, reduce chronic pain, increase upper body strength and independence. The patients in the trial are showing remarkable results. How long? 10 weeks, full time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You'd need to relocate to Boston for the duration. Victoria felt the air leave her lungs. 10 weeks? I can't leave Marcus for 10 weeks. I understand. But Victoria, this program only accepts 12 patients per year. The next cycle starts in 3 weeks. If you don't take this spot, it could be another year before there's an opening, maybe longer. What's the success rate? 73% of participants show measurable improvement. 40% report life-changing results. Dr. Williams leaned forward. This could be your one chance. Victoria drove home in silence, Marcus babbling in the back seat, her mind spinning. 10 weeks away from her son. 10 weeks away from the company. 10 weeks away from Nathan and Lily, just when they were building something real. 10 weeks that might change her life. Or might change nothing at all. That evening, she sat in Nathan's kitchen while Lily helped Marcus stack blocks and told Nathan everything Dr. Williams had said. I can't do it. Why not? Marcus, the company, you, Lily, this. She gestured between them. I can't just leave. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. Then, what if you could? What? What if Marcus stayed with me? What if we took care of him while you were in Boston? Victoria's heart stopped. Nathan, that's too much to ask. You're not asking. I'm offering. His eyes were steady, certain. Victoria, you need to do this. For yourself, for your future, for Marcus's future. You can't pass this up. But what if it doesn't work? What if I spend 10 weeks away from my son and come back exactly the same? Nathan reached across the table, took both her hands in his. Then you come home to people who love you exactly as you are. But Victoria, what if it does work? What if you don't take this chance and spend the rest of your life wondering? Lily appeared at the table, Marcus on her hip. Victoria, you have to go. Sweetie, Mom made me promise to take care of Dad. She said he'd need someone to make him do hard things. Lily's voice was fierce. This is a hard thing, but you have to do it. And we'll be okay. We'll take care of Marcus. I already have a plan. Of course she did. I'm scared. Victoria's voice broke. We know. Nathan squeezed her hands. But you're the bravest person I've ever met. You can do this. The next day, Victoria faced her board. Patricia Wells was already circling before Victoria even finished her presentation. 10 weeks? During Q4? That's insane. I've prepared a comprehensive transition plan. Jennifer Cooper will serve as interim CEO. I'll be available for video consultations on critical decisions. The framework is solid. The framework is irrelevant. Patricia stood, arms crossed. Victoria, you're asking this board to approve a 10-week absence during our most crucial quarter because of a personal medical situation. That's not leadership. That's abandonment. Robert Thompson cleared his throat. Patricia, I hardly think... And let's be honest about what's really happening here. Patricia's eyes were sharp as knives. This is about that man. Nathan Brooks. You've been distracted for weeks. Late to meetings, leaving early. Now you want to disappear to Boston for experimental treatment that may not even work? Victoria felt rage building in her chest, hot and clean. You want to talk about distraction, Patricia? Let's talk about the fact that I built this company from a hospital bed. Let's talk about how I learned to code again with hands that barely functioned. Let's talk about how I pitched to 73 investors before one believed a woman in a wheelchair could run a tech company. She leaned forward, voice dropping to ice. I have never missed a deadline, never failed to deliver, never let my personal life interfere with my professional obligations. So if you want to question my dedication based on 10 weeks of medical leave, you'd better have more than speculation and prejudice to back it up. Silence crashed through the room. James Harrison, the executive director, spoke quietly. I move to approve Victoria's medical leave with full support for the interim leadership structure. Seconded. Robert's voice was firm. The vote was 6-1. Only Patricia opposed. As the meeting adjourned, James pulled Victoria aside. You've earned this, Victoria. More than earned it. Go to Boston. Get better. We'll be here when you get back. Thank you. And Victoria? Patricia's making a power play. Watch your back. 2 days later, Frank and Carol Morrison appeared at Nathan's house again. This time, Victoria wasn't there. Nathan had just gotten home from a job site, Lily was at soccer practice, and Marcus was napping upstairs. He opened the door to find his in-laws standing on the porch, grim-faced. We need to talk. About what? Frank's jaw was set. About your girlfriend. About Lily. About this entire situation spiraling out of control. Nathan let them in because refusing felt petty. They sat in his living room, the same room where Emma had died, and looked at him like he was a stranger. Nathan, we love you. We love Lily. Carol's voice shook. But this woman, Victoria, you barely know her. And now she's leaving for Boston and you're agreeing to care for her child? For 10 weeks? She's not leaving. She's getting medical treatment, which conveniently removes her from the picture while you bond with her son. Frank's tone was harsh. Do you hear yourself? You're being used. Nathan's hands curled into fists. I'm being what? Think about it. Wealthy CEO, disabled, baby. She finds a single father, someone grieving, someone vulnerable. She uses her situation to appeal to your protective instincts, and now you're playing house with her child while she's gone. Get out. Carol stood. Nathan, please. We're trying to help you see. See what? That the first woman I've cared about in 3 years is somehow manipulating me? That I'm too stupid to make my own decisions? Nathan's voice rose. Emma has been gone for 3 years. 3 years of you two watching me like I'm going to break. 3 years of treating Lily like she's made of glass. 3 years of living in a museum to the past. Don't you dare. Frank's face went red. Emma made me promise I wouldn't stop living. She made me promise I'd find happiness again. Victoria isn't erasing Emma. She's honoring what Emma wanted for me. By replacing her with a... Carol stopped herself. Say it. Nathan's voice was deadly quiet. Finish that sentence. We're worried about stability. For Lily. For you. This woman is leaving. What happens when she decides parenting from a wheelchair is too hard? When she decides she doesn't want the complicated life that comes with a widower and his daughter? Then I'll deal with it. But I won't pre-reject someone because I'm afraid of being hurt. That's not living. That's just hiding. Carol's eyes filled with tears. We're losing you. We lost Sarah, and now we're losing you and Lily. No. Nathan's voice softened slightly. You're not losing us. But you can't keep us frozen in grief either. Lily needs to see me happy. She needs to know that life continues, that love doesn't end when someone dies. Frank stood. If you continue this relationship, if you take that woman's child into your home, we'll have no choice but to petition for grandparents' rights. We'll fight for custody of Lily. The words hung in the air like poison. Nathan felt the ground drop out from under him. You would take my daughter from me? We're protecting our granddaughter from instability. Get out of my house. Nathan's voice shook. Get out, right now. Nathan, out. They left. Nathan stood in his living room shaking until Marcus woke upstairs and started crying. He climbed the stairs, picked up Victoria's son, held the baby against his chest while his own heart broke into pieces. His phone rang. Victoria. He almost didn't answer, almost let it go to voicemail because how could he tell her this? How could he explain that loving her might cost him his daughter? But he answered anyway. Hey, what's wrong? Her voice was sharp with worry. Nathan, what happened? Frank and Carol came by. And? He told her everything. The threats, the custody petition, the ultimatum. When he finished, silence stretched between them. I'm ending this. Victoria's voice was flat, decided. I'm calling off Boston. I'm stepping back. I won't let them take Lily from you. No, Nathan, they're threatening to take your daughter. Your daughter. I can't. I won't. This isn't your choice. His voice was firm. This is extortion, Victoria, and I will not let them win. I will not teach Lily that bullies get what they want when they threaten us. But you're going to Boston. I'm taking care of Marcus. And if Frank and Carol want a custody fight, they'll get one. But they won't get Lily. Nathan, please think about this. I have. Every day for 3 years, I've thought about what kind of man I want to be for my daughter. What kind of example I want to set. And the answer is, a man who keeps his promises. A man who stands up for the people he loves. A man who doesn't run when things get hard. Victoria was crying now. He could hear it. I love you. I love you too. Which is why you're getting on that plane. The next afternoon, Lily disappeared. Nathan got home from work at 4 to find the house empty except for Marcus, who was with Jennifer. He called Lily's phone. No answer. Called her friends. Nothing. Panic started building in his chest. Then his phone rang. Carol. Lily's here. Relief and fury crashed together. What? She rode her bike over. She wants to talk to us. Nathan, you should come. He was there in 15 minutes, Jennifer following with Marcus. Lily sat at Frank and Carol's kitchen table, dirt on her knees from the bike ride, chin raised defiantly. Does your father know you're here? Frank's voice was stern.
No, I didn't tell him because he would have stopped me. And you need to hear this. Lily, sweetheart, I know what you said. About custody. About taking me away from Dad if he keeps seeing Victoria. Carol went pale. How did you? I heard you. I was upstairs when you came over. I heard everything. Lily's voice shook but stayed strong. And I need you to know something. I love you. I love you so much. You're my grandma and grandpa. You're part of my family. She took a breath. But Victoria is part of my family too now. And Marcus. And if you try to take me away from Dad because he's finally happy again, I will never forgive you. Never. Lily, Mom told me something before she died. Lily's eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. She said, "Take care of Daddy. Make sure he doesn't forget how to smile." And Victoria makes him smile, Grandma. For the first time in 3 years, he's smiling again. How can that be wrong? Carol was crying now. Frank's jaw worked, but no words came out. I miss Mom every single day. Lily's voice broke. I miss her so much, it hurts. But she wouldn't want this. She wouldn't want Dad to be alone forever. She wouldn't want you to punish him for trying to be happy. Nathan appeared in the doorway, Victoria behind him in her wheelchair. They must have arrived while Lily was talking. I miss Mom too. Lily was sobbing now. But I can't lose Dad. I can't lose Victoria and Marcus. Please don't make me choose. Please. Carol moved first. She crossed to Lily, pulled her granddaughter into her arms, and held her while they both cried. Frank sat heavily in his chair, looking older than his 67 years. When he finally spoke, his voice was rough. We were wrong. Frank. Carol looked up, still holding Lily. No, we were wrong. He looked at Nathan, then at Victoria. We lost our daughter, our only child. And we've been so terrified of losing what's left of her that we couldn't see we were destroying what she loved most. He stood, walked to Victoria, extended his hand. I'm sorry. I judged you without knowing you. I saw your wheelchair and your baby, and I made assumptions. Cruel assumptions. And I apologize. Victoria took his hand, shook it. I understand. You were protecting what you love. We were trying to keep Sarah alive by keeping everything the same. Carol released Lily, wiped her eyes. But you can't keep people alive by freezing time. Can you? No. Nathan's voice was gentle. You keep them alive by living the way they would have wanted, by loving the way they loved, by being brave the way they were brave. Carol looked at Victoria for a long moment. Then, will you tell me about your son? About Marcus? Victoria blinked, surprised. What do you want to know? Everything. They sat at that kitchen table for 2 hours. Victoria talked about Marcus's birth, about raising him alone, about the terror and joy of single motherhood. Carol and Frank asked questions, real questions, and listened to the answers. When it was time to leave, Carol pulled a small box from her pocket. This was Sarah's, her grandmother's necklace. She left specific instructions in her will about who should have it. She opened the box, a delicate gold chain with a heart-shaped pendant. She wrote, "Give this to the woman who loves my family next. Tell her she has my blessing." Victoria couldn't speak, could only stare at the necklace while tears poured down her face. Sarah knew? She knew Nathan would love again. She wanted him to. She wanted all of us to. Carol fastened the necklace around Victoria's neck, Welcome to the family, dear.
3 weeks later, Victoria stood in her apartment at 5 in the morning, suitcase packed, Marcus still sleeping. Nathan was picking her up in an hour to take her to the airport. 10 weeks in Boston. 10 weeks of pain and therapy and hoping for change that might not come. 10 weeks away from everyone she loved. Her phone buzzed. Nathan. Ready?
As I'll ever be.
We're coming up. Lily burst through the door first when Victoria opened it, throwing her arms around Victoria's waist.
You have to come back! You have to come back better and stronger, and then we can go to the park and you can show me how fast your wheelchair really goes. I will, baby. I promise.
Nathan lifted Marcus from his crib. The baby was awake now, confused, reaching for Victoria.
Mama?
Victoria took him, held him close, breathed in his baby smell.
Mama's going to go away for a little while, but I'm coming back. I promise I'm coming back.
Marcus didn't understand. He grabbed her face, babbled something that sounded like, "No go."
I have to, sweetheart. I have to.
Nathan gently took Marcus back when Victoria started crying too hard to hold him safely. We should go. Don't want to miss your flight. The airport was crowded with Saturday morning travelers. Nathan walked Victoria to security, Lily holding Marcus, all of them trying not to cry. 10 weeks. Victoria's voice shook. 10 weeks. Nathan cupped her face in his hands. I'll call every night. We'll video chat every day. You won't miss anything important. Take care of my baby. I'll take care of our baby. He kissed her forehead, soft and lingering. Go to Boston. Get stronger. Come home to us. Lily thrust a handmade bracelet at her, thread and beads woven together. For luck. I made it. Every bead is a week. When you've been gone 10 weeks, you can come home. Victoria slipped it on, couldn't stop the tears now. I love you both so much. We love you too. Lily's voice was small but brave. Mom? The word hit Victoria like lightning. Mom. Lily had never called her that before. She pulled Lily into a fierce hug. I love you, sweetheart. I love you so much. Nathan's arms came around both of them, Marcus between them, and they stood there in the middle of the airport, holding each other like they could stop time. When Victoria finally went through security, she looked back one more time. Nathan was holding Marcus, Lily was holding Nathan's hand, and all three of them were waving. She waved back, then turned and walked toward her gate, toward Boston, toward 10 weeks of uncertainty, toward the hardest thing she'd ever done. The first week in Boston nearly broke her. Dr. Catherine Reynolds, the lead physical therapist, was brilliant and merciless. 8 hours a day of electrical nerve stimulation, muscle therapy, exercises that left Victoria gasping and crying and cursing. Your pain tolerance is impressive. Dr. Reynolds made notes on her tablet. But we're going to push you past impressive. We're going to find your actual limits. What if my limits are lower than you think? Then we'll know. But Victoria, I don't think they are. Every night Nathan called. Sometimes they talked for hours. Sometimes Victoria was too exhausted for words, and they just sat on the phone together, breathing. How was today? I want to come home. Do you want me to come get you? I'll drive up tonight. We'll be there by morning. You would? I'd drive through hell to get to you. This is just Massachusetts. She laughed despite everything. I'm staying, it just hurts. I know, but you're doing it anyway. That's what makes you extraordinary. Marcus appeared on the screen during video calls, babbling and pointing. Lily gave daily reports. Day 12. Marcus learned to say, ball. He said it 73 times. I counted. Also, he threw his food at Dad. It was hilarious. Week 4 brought the first real improvement. Small, almost imperceptible, but real.
Do that again. Dr. Reynolds' voice was sharp with excitement. Victoria repeated the hand movement, fingers flexing with more control than she'd had in 5 years. Oh my God, that's progress, Victoria. Significant progress. She called Nathan immediately, crying. It's working. I can't believe it, but it's working. I never doubted you. I doubted me. I know, but I had enough faith for both of us. Week 7 brought a setback. Infection at one of the electrode sites. 3 days of antibiotics and no therapy. Victoria spiraled into depression, certain it was over, certain she'd wasted everyone's time. Nathan talked her through it. One setback doesn't erase 6 weeks of progress. But what if? No what ifs, just facts. Fact, you're getting stronger. Fact, the doctors are optimistic. Fact, you have a family waiting for you who loves you exactly as you are, but is cheering for you to have less pain and more freedom. I miss you. I miss you too. But I'm so proud of you, Victoria. So incredibly proud. Week 8 changed everything. Dr. Reynolds set up parallel bars in the therapy room. Today we're trying something new. Victoria's heart raced. I haven't stood in 5 years. I know. Your muscle development is strong enough now. Your core stability has improved 37%. I think you're ready. What if I fall? Then I catch you. That's what I'm here for. Slowly, carefully, with Dr. Reynolds supporting her weight, Victoria stood. Her legs shook. Her whole body trembled. But she was standing. I'm standing. Her voice broke. Oh my God, I'm standing. Yes, you are. Victoria called Nathan immediately, didn't wait until evening. He answered on the first ring. Victoria, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. Nathan, I stood up. I stood up today. The sound he made was half laugh, half sob. Really? Really? I'm not walking. This isn't a miracle. But I stood. For 30 seconds, I stood. In the background, she heard Lily screaming, heard Marcus giggling at the noise. 10 more days. Nathan's voice was thick with emotion. 10 more days, and you come home. I can't wait. Neither can we. The last day of treatment, Dr. Reynolds gave her final assessment. You've exceeded every benchmark we set. Pain levels decreased 42%. Upper body strength increased 68%. Fine motor control improved 53%. Victoria, you've done something remarkable here. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have. You just would have had a worse therapist. Dr. Reynolds smiled. Go home. Keep up the maintenance exercises. Come back in 6 months for follow-up. And Victoria, be proud of yourself. You earned this. The flight home felt longer than all 10 weeks combined. Victoria's hands shook as the plane descended into Austin. She'd been gone 70 days. Marcus had grown. Lily had probably grown. The whole world had kept spinning without her. What if everything had changed? Nathan was waiting at the gate with Marcus on his hip and Lily bouncing beside him. Lily was holding a sign. Welcome home, Mom, in glittery letters. Mom. Not Victoria. Mom. Victoria rolled toward them as fast as her chair would go.
Lily crashed into her first, nearly knocking her over. Marcus lunged from Nathan's arms, crying, "Mama! Mama!" And Nathan just stood there, with tears running down his face, waiting his turn. When Lily finally let go, Victoria opened her arms. Nathan knelt, pulled her and Marcus into an embrace that felt like coming home. "You did it." His voice was rough against her ear. "We did it." She pulled back enough to see his face. "I couldn't have done it without all of you. How do you feel? Stronger? Tired? Ready to be home? Then let's go home." They drove to Nathan's house, the house that had become hers too over the past months. Frank and Carol were there, dinner already cooking. They'd sent flowers to Boston every week with cards signed, "Love, Grandma and Grandpa." Marcus fell asleep in Victoria's lap before they even finished eating, exhausted from excitement. Lily talked non-stop about everything Victoria had missed, school and soccer and the new book she was reading. Frank and Carol asked questions about Boston, about treatment, about whether she was in pain. Real questions with real interest behind them. "Thank you." Victoria looked at them both. "For taking care of my family while I was gone. They're our family too now." Carol reached across the table, squeezed Victoria's hand. "All of you." Later, after everyone had gone home and the kids were in bed, Nathan and Victoria sat on the back porch under the stars. "I have something to ask you." Victoria's heart skipped. "Okay." Nathan pulled a small box from his pocket. "I bought this before you left for Boston. I've been carrying it around for 10 weeks. "Nathan, let me finish." He smiled, nervous and certain at the same time. "Victoria Hayes, you are stubborn and proud, and you make terrible coffee, and you reorganize my life when I don't ask you to. You fought your way back from the impossible, and you made me believe in second chances. You gave Lily a mother again. You gave me a reason to wake up every morning." He opened the box. A simple diamond ring caught the porch light. "Will you marry me?" Victoria looked at this man who'd stood up for her in a restaurant, who'd called her every night for 10 weeks, who'd cared for her son like his own. Yes. God, yes. He slid the ring onto her finger and kissed her. And Victoria thought, this is it. This is everything I never knew I wanted. They were married in early May in Nathan's backyard. Not a big wedding, just family and close friends surrounded by the garden Nathan had built for her, accessible pathways and raised flower beds, and wind chimes singing in the breeze. Lily was maid of honor in a purple dress she'd picked herself. She gave a speech that made everyone cry. Frank walked Victoria down the makeshift aisle, his gift after she'd asked if he would. Carol helped adjust her veil. Nathan's vows were simple. I promise to stand beside you, not in front of you, not behind you, but beside you. Always. Victoria's came from somewhere deeper than words. You saved me. Not from my wheelchair, from loneliness. I love you, Nathan Brooks. Forever. Frank, ordained online at Lily's insistence, pronounced them married. And I declare you a family. All of you. Nathan, kiss your bride. The reception was joyful chaos. Marcus threw flower petals everywhere. Lily spun in circles until she got dizzy. Frank and Carol danced together the way they had at their own wedding 50 years ago. When the party wound down and the guests had gone and the kids were finally asleep, Nathan and Victoria sat on their porch one last time as boyfriend and girlfriend. We did it. We really did. You're stuck with me now. I think you're stuck with me. Victoria laughed. I'm okay with that. Nathan pulled her close. Me too. Very okay with that. Somewhere inside the house, Marcus called out in his sleep. Lily's voice drifted down, soft and reassuring. It's okay, Marcus. I've got you. Victoria thought about how far she'd come. From a woman apologizing for existing to a woman with a family who loved her. From a CEO fighting alone to a wife with a partner who stood beside her. From a mother who wondered if she was enough to a mother who knew she was. Life wasn't perfect, would never be perfect. There would be hard days and setbacks and moments when she doubted everything, but she wasn't alone anymore. She had Nathan. She had Lily. She had Marcus. She had Frank and Carol. She had a home. She had everything she'd ever wanted. And it had all started with a single act of courage. Showing up at a restaurant with a baby on her chest and refusing to disappear. I love you. Nathan's voice pulled her back to the present. I love you too. The stars wheeled overhead. The garden rustled in the evening breeze. Inside their house, their children slept safe and loved. Victoria Hayes Brooks had spent her whole life proving she was enough. Now she knew. She'd always been enough. She just needed to find the people who could see it.